Today's video has kindly been sponsored by Fuel4Fans, which is a website where you can find officially licensed F1 merchandise. Now, a few months ago it was suggested that F1 for the 2020 season should trial some reverse grid races. Now, it was met with a bit of a mixed response, but what better way to test out whether it's any good or not than doing it in the F1 game? So, as you can see, we've got the Williams at the front of the grid, we've got the Ferraris, Red Bulls and Mercedes at the back of the grid, and we are going to be doing a 25% race here at Japan and see what happens. So, as you can see, this is the starting grid. What we've done is reverse the championship order from the 2019 season. So we've got Williams at the front, who obviously finished in 10th place, going all the way down to Mercedes, who will be starting at the back. Apart from Max Verstappen, because I'm going to be driving as him, and I'm starting at the back, at the very back. But yeah, this is a really interesting concept. And I'm really intrigued to see how it works. As I said, we're doing a 25% race. Because when the idea was sort of bandied about a couple of months ago, they said it'd probably be like a half-hour qualifying race. So half an hour is pretty much equivalent to a 25% race. But of course, there's going to be a pit stop in this, and if it was trialled or done in real life, I'd imagine there would be no pit stops. But yeah, it's still a very good way of seeing whether it is effective or not. And if you guys like this idea and want to see me do more, do smash a like down below. In the next few days, I'm going to be starting a little bit of a modded career mode with the sort of the confirmed races for the 2020 season. So I may try and trial some of them. But we now go to the 5 red lights for this reverse grid Japanese Grand Prix, and away we go as Max Verstappen from the back and taking it easy into turn 1. As you can see, it's going to be absolute carnage as the fast cars try and get past the slower ones, and we actually stick it around the outside of Bottas into turn 1, but he squeezes us out, and he's in fact lost a little bit of his left front wing end plate. So not a good start for Bottas, but that serves him right for trying to squeeze us out. As we settle into P19 and look at that train which is going on at the moment. We'll take a look at a replay of what happened at the start at the front, but for now we're just going to ride on board with ourselves, and the whole field is nose to tail at the moment. It's very much a game of bravery, as you'll discover through this video, and we make our first dive down the inside of Lewis Hamilton, and it is at the hairpin. And we're now going to try and get a good run out to Spoon Curve, but as we stuck it down the inside, we don't get a great run, and Valtteri Bottas is going to have a look at us into Spoon Curve now, but we do manage to stay ahead of the Finn. And not much movement on the first lap, if I'm being honest, which did surprise me, because we've still got myself, Bottas, Hamilton, that looks like one of the Ferraris, and also a McLaren by the looks of it. So it looks like the McLaren of Carlos Sainz has probably come off worst from this start. Yeah, he's already down in 17th, and he's going to get done by Lewis Hamilton as Kevin Magnussen sets the fastest lap of the race, meaning that the Haas driver is leading the way. But a pretty catastrophic start for Carlos Sainz, and we're going to try and look to get past him into turn 1. Sainz goes a little bit defensive, and we are going to stick behind for the meantime. But yeah, interesting first lap at the back. Let's take a look at what happened at the front. So it was Robert Kubica who was leading the way, and immediately George Russell in the other Williams was taken by Kevin Magnussen. A good start from the Haas driver. So it was Williams, Haas going in to the first couple of corners, and immediately Magnussen is right on the tail of Kubica. And just yeah, going through the S's, of course, is a section of track which really amplifies how much aerodynamic performance you have, and that Williams not particularly good on aerodynamics. And now as we come through to 130R on the first lap of the race, that is where Kevin Magnussen overtook Robert Kubica to take the lead of this Grand Prix, and immediately the second Haas of Romain Grosjean is right on the tail of George Russell. So it's going to be interesting to see whether Magnussen can build a bit of a gap, or whether some of the front runners can close him down later on in the race. We now go back on board with ourselves as Max Verstappen on lap 2. We make another dive into the hairpin, this time on Carlos Sainz. It's coming already a little bit of a good passing place by the looks of it, because you know the AI just travels so slowly into the hairpin because of the sort of whole concertina effect. Might as well try and go for it. Another place which isn't traditionally an overtaking spot is 130R, but it looks like the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc has made that one stick, and on Alexander Albon, and it looks as if Lewis Hamilton is also going for a move. Meanwhile, further up the field, we've got some more action, and this time it is Sergio Perez going for a move on George Russell, and he stuck it down the inside, did the Mexican, but he's ended up coming off badly. Again, another front wing end plate is being dispatched onto the circuit at turn 1, and Perez went for the move, trying to close in on the two Williamses, and then obviously Kevin Magnussen, but it has not come off well. So now we've again got another massive train, and this time it is behind Sergio Perez, who's going to be even slower than usual, as we're coming up on our teammate Alexander Albon. We don't even brake late, and we still managed to take a couple of cars, using Hamilton as a bit of a break, really, but didn't do any damage, so it's all okay. Meanwhile, we're going to take a look at a replay of what happened to Perez. Yeah, that's just not a move that's on, really. I mean, bit silly from Perez, you know. Russell had the inside covered, and Perez was just like, nah, I'm just going to send it, don't even care. And then, yeah, his teammate gets in pretty soon after, and yeah, that's some pretty big damage that's going to lose him a lot of downforce for the remainder of this stint. And then, of course, a front wing change will be happening in his pit phase, which pretty much puts an end to Perez's input on this race, I'd imagine. But now we come to the final chicane, the Casio Triangle, as it is officially known, for the third time, and we've got Charles Leclerc who's going for a move on Daniel Ricciardo. Meanwhile, we have made our way past Sebastian Vettel, and we are almost going 3 wide with Ricciardo and Hamilton, but we get ahead of Lewis, and that is quite a ballsy move around the outside, I do have to say, and that is what this format of racing really favours, is, you know, just going for moves. So yeah, we went for it this time, choosing to stick behind at the hairpin on lap 4, but as we get a change of strategy, but we're going to keep with the same one, trying to close in on Daniel Ricciardo, because we know that Charles Leclerc is up in P13, and in this format of racing you do not want to get stuck behind a slower car for a prolonged period of time, because your rivals, if they dispatch them quickly, are just going to go off into the distance. So we know that we've got to make a move quickly on Daniel Ricciardo if Leclerc isn't to get away. And we do make the move just before 130R, but Leclerc also makes a move at 130R on Lando Norris, but we brake all the way around the outside. Norris is still there, but we brake very, very late into the Casio Triangle, and it is P13 for ourselves. And we're only 4 laps in to this race. Meanwhile, start of lap 5, we've got Romain Grosjean going for a move on Robert Kubica for P2, and he makes it. No, he doesn't quite. They are still side by side in it to the first couple of corners. Sorry, George Russell, I think it is, in fact. But he does manage to get through and up into P2 in this race, which is pretty important for him, because now we can sort of close down his teammate, and it is now a Haas 1-2, but it has taken him a long time to get past, and you can see what sort of a lead Kevin Magnussen has if you look at the mini-map. So it's looking pretty conclusive, I think, that Kevin Magnussen is going to get a very good finish, if not a victory here today. Meanwhile, we are still going for that victory, or at least trying to get as high as possible by trying to make a move on Charles Leclerc at the hairpin. But now Leclerc's going for a move himself, this time on Nico Hülkenberg at 130R. That really is Charles Leclerc's favourite overtaking opportunity today. You know, we'll take the hairpin, Leclerc can have 130R. as we try and get past Nico Hülkenberg in similar fashion to the Monegasque driver, and we do get away past Hülkenberg at the final corner. Although now we've got quite a big slipstream train behind us, which includes Hülkenberg, Hamilton and Vettel, and it looks as if Sebastian Vettel has come off best because he's made his way past both Hamilton and Hülkenberg, and we are now the filling in a Ferrari sandwich. Or is that how it works? I don't know, because the Ferrari's the bread to our sandwich. Anyway, it doesn't really make any sense. And once again, we'll get back to the action as Leclerc makes another move down the inside of Daniel Kvyat, which sets us up pretty nicely on the AlphaTauri driver, and we're trying to hook it all the way around the outside of him, but we have got to come into the pit lane, so we have to chicken out of that move and stick behind the Russian as we come into the pit lane, timing it pretty much to perfection and getting it slowed down in time, which means no penalty for us, and hopefully a slick stop. Indeed it is. It's 2.4 seconds, which is very, very nice from the Red Bull crew, and that, by the looks of it, has got us ahead of Kvyat. He's had to wait, and we have got the leap on the sister Red Bull car, or team even. And we are out in P14, but of course half the grid have still got to make their pit stop, and we've got a nice bit of fresh air in front of us, although these medium tyres really weren't up to temperature straight away. But yeah, they did manage to get up to temperature as we set a purple sector 2, and now in the bottom right you can see that Valtteri Bottas is having a wing change, which puts him out of contention of any sort of decent finish, and he'll come out in last place, yes, 20th, and we emerge in P8 by the looks of it after that round of pit stops. Unfortunately, Leclerc has just got the jump on us. That first sector has really done us over there, because we just had no temperature in our tyres, and you could see with Leclerc coming out the pit lane, we were right on his tail. But yeah, very difficult to make a move in the S's, so we're just going to have to stick behind for the meantime. And now as we come through the Dunlop curve and towards the two Degners, it looks as if Leclerc is going to eye up a move on Giovinazzi before too long, although I haven't really seen the AI go for any moves into the hairpin, so I think he is going to stick behind for the meantime. And yeah, in a moment we're going to just take a quick look at what the running order is looking like after the first round of pit stops, as we've got Leclerc, Verstappen and Hamilton all in a row, which is going to get very, very tasty. But yeah, we'll take a quick look. So it's the two Hasses leading the way, Magnussen from Grosjean, and they've got quite a tiny little lead, as George Russell is currently still occupying third position after the pit stops. Can you believe it? With Kimi Raikkonen sat there in fourth place, just ahead of Lance Stroll, the only remaining racing point that's in the points. Then we've got Giovinazzi, and then it is Leclerc, myself and Hamilton. Then we've got the second Williams of Robert Kubica ahead of that man, Sebastian Vettel, who is surely now going to go for a move either before or into 130R. Got so much more grip and downforce and straight line speed by the looks of it than the Williams. And indeed, the Ferrari sticks through 130R and he is up a position. And now not far behind Lewis Hamilton. And now we go back a few cars to Alexander Albon, who is still behind the AlphaTauris, and then in last place is that man, Valtteri Bottas. Can you believe it? Just yeah, very bizarre, this whole reverse grid business, especially on a track like Suzuka, which is very difficult obviously to overtake. That's one of the reasons why I picked this track. I thought it'd be very interesting to see with what sort of ease we can actually try and get past. Now it's Charles Leclerc that we're trying to get past as we shove him off the circuit a little bit. It's a little bit like Austria 2019 all over again. And we are now going to be side by side as we go through turn 12 and into the spoon curve. And we stick our nose down the inside. Leclerc did not want to yield, but he had to in the end, and got a little bit caught up on the curve, which has lost him a position to Antonio Giovinazzi. And that means that we are up into 6th position now, with George Russell next up, because he's about to be overtaken. There's overtakes left, right and centre that I can't keep up with, and we go for a lunge down the inside of the Williams car, but it doesn't quite stick. We have still got 3 laps left in this race, so we're not making any daring moves just yet. And we're also the furthest forward top 3 team car, if that makes any sense. There are no Red Bulls, Ferraris or Mercedes ahead of us, is what I'm trying to say. So we can bide our time. We know that we are quicker than these cars ahead, but of course we still want to dispatch of them relatively quickly in order to get up as high up as possible. So yeah, the first sector is pretty much just a waiting game, as we now go through the Dunlop curve, just showing how much more grip we have than George Russell, even when we're in the dirty air on that Williams. So we flick through the first and now the second Dagners, and we get so much grip on the exit of there, which puts us right on the tail of the British driver, and we're now going to dive it down the inside on him, but he closes the door and now we lose our front wing end plate. There's end plates all over the place on this Suzuka circuit, so that's going to compromise us. It's not the full end plate, I don't think, but it's still going to compromise us a little bit, but nonetheless we still go all the way around the outside of George Russell into the spoon curve, which gets us another position and puts us right on the tail of Lance Stroll. And meanwhile, in the background, we've got Leclerc once again trying to make a move in to 130R, but he's going to have to bide his time there and go all the way around the outside of Russell at the Casio Triangle. There's a big lockup from the Williams driver, but he's still going side by side. It's a great effort in this race from George Russell, who looks as if he may still score some points, but only if he can stop getting overtaken time after time. As there's a spin from Giovinazzi, who's tried to go for a move on Russell, and then I don't even know what to say. Sebastian Vettel is just caught up. He stops on the track and then just gets absolutely ploughed by the AlphaTauri of Pierre Gasly, and that puts Sebastian Vettel out of the Grand Prix. He is going to be finishing in last position. Can you believe it? As we make an audacious lunge down the inside of Lance Stroll and up into P4. This is just a crazy race that I cannot keep up with, even if I tried. So 4th place now. We are just 1 position away from a podium position, and if the reverse grid format was proposed, a theoretical 2nd row is what we'd be on. But yeah, we come to the end of this race, and taking the checkered flag first is going to be the Haas of Kevin Magnussen. He's run away with this race with his teammate Romain Grosjean. It is a Haas 1-2 here at Suzuka. It's the win for Magnussen, P2 for Grosjean, and it looks as if it's going to be P3 for Kimi Raikkonen, because we try and go really, really late on the brakes, but yeah, that move was never really going to happen. And yeah, we come around the final corner for P4. It's the best of the rest for us, or you know, best of the big boys, I guess you could say. As we finish ahead of all of the Ferraris and Mercedes and ahead of our teammate Alex Albon. But there is Gunther Steiner celebrating the victory, and that just proves that it is very, very difficult to overtake a whole grid of cars in just half an hour or a 25% race. So if the whole reverse grid format was to go ahead, we really would be seeing some bizarre grids. A 1-2 for Haas, followed by the Alfa Romeo of Kimi. But yeah, it would be very, very interesting to see, obviously, you know, spicing up the grids for the Sundays. But yeah, Verstappen managed to make his way up to 4th in my hands, and Leclerc followed me home in P5 as well. So it really favours the aggressive driver, this format, and it was really, really good fun to record, it has to be said. So now we go on to the race results to see exactly what happened. So Leclerc took fastest lap of the race, and all of the top 7 ended up making up positions compared to their starting grid position. George Russell was the one that lost quite a lot, but still a points finish for him, ahead of our teammate Alex Albon. And Sainz, despite his awful start, actually ended up getting a point, unlike Valtteri Bottas, who could only manage 12th, just ahead of Robert Kubica. Vettel was the only DNF. Gasly and Kvyat and Giovinazzi all got damage from that as well, which is what left them at the back. And now we take a look at the constructors' standings. So those are the teams that scored the most points from this reverse grid format. Obviously Haas taking home the full 43 points. But yeah, Red Bull, Ferrari 3rd and 4th, and Mercedes down in 6th position. So I thought that was just an interesting little thing to add in at the end. But yeah, if you guys have enjoyed this video, do make sure to leave a like. And if you want to see more, again, let me know down in the comments below. But until my next video, guys, do take care. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.